Hey everybody, it's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan, and CoinDesk Japan just published their interview with Monica Long. She's the president of Ripple. The interview took place in Japan, and so this lag time of, well, it feels like I think about 2 weeks, I imagine, is because everything written needed approvals. Yeah, no doubt. There were 3 big standout points that were above and beyond what I typically have heard. And I'm going to cover that straight away in this video in detail. But first, I want to take a look at the market because it's shifting back into the green. Bitcoin is back over 64,000, so it is shifting everybody back into the green. And we've got in the top 100, 3 big gainers. WorldCoin, which is trading at $2.13, it's up 17%. That's that global ID orb verified multispectral sensor that scans your physical image. And if you do so, you're promised to receive some WLD tokens, but unfortunately not in the United States. This is a project that was founded by Sam Altman and some others. I'm curious in the comments if anybody has actually had themselves scanned. I don't think I will, but hey, if you're okay with that, I'm okay with that. Now, StarkNet is in that second position. It's trading at 49 cents, up 16%. And it's really trading up based on the first phase of staking being announced. It operates as a layer 2 network over Ethereum. It's a decentralized app that allows you to scale computation. And in that third position, well, it's pretty much the 2, Shiba Inu and Dog with Hat. The big meme coins, yes, we continue to be a meme coin run. It's crazy. They're both up about 15%. So let's jump into those 3 standout points in that article. The first point I had never read or heard before, and that is the Ripple USD stablecoin, the RLUSD, will first appear in countries or regions outside the United States, where it already has a license. And following their initial issuance, it will be evaluating how to properly enter a new market like Japan. The second point is about their payment service. We know that they already use both XRP and stablecoins. Those other 2 stablecoins have been identified as USD Tether and USDC, and they do that for liquidity, for a bridge currency. But that happens behind the scenes, and RippleNet customers don't need to know what they are handling for these liquidity mechanisms, and nor do they need to choose. So going forward, Ripple is going to be leveraging the Ripple USD stablecoin for those payments. What I found new in this is that I think they continue to keep that curtain closed or the blindfold on. We're never going to see the breakdown of the USD Tether versus USDC versus XRP and their payment flows. I don't think so. I'd be thrilled if they did give us a breakdown, but it looks like we're not going to get that. Now, one thing, if they were to go public, we probably would have a better insight to the actual breakdown. And the third point was very encouraging for me because I'm a big Hooks fan. I am really one to respect the work that's been done by Wietse Wind and his team at XRPL Labs. And it says in the article that, and I quote, "We are also looking at ways to bring programmability to the XRP ledger in a native way." So that means on the mainnet. So for example, she continues, "We think, and the community thinks so too, that there is a lot of potential in the Zahao network hooks. And that would bring smart contracts to the XRP ledger." Really happy that she identified Zahao as being one of the possibilities for the mainnet. It's turned out to be a very popular post, which is great. I think, yeah, it's all positive. And I was asked if all banks in Japan were still going to use Ripple Tech. No, I'm sorry. That news or narrative of all banks in Japan is not true, never was. The CoinSpeaker article that stated that in 2019 used it as a clickbait title, and influencers, even today, some of the largest among us, still spew that narrative. You can read the article, and it never says Mr. Kitao said that. And if you want to check for yourself, I'm going to put a link to it in the description of this video. And Jack, XRP, said, but isn't it obvious that they're going to use Ripple Tech and XRPL? No, it's actually not at all. For example, SBI is using XDC, the digital asset, and the network for trade finance settlement. And Japan's three largest banks, MUFG, SMBC, and Mizuho, they're all involved with a cross-border payment system called Project PAX, and that aims to use stablecoins instead of correspondent banks using a new blockchain called data chain. And then you've got the three mega banks that were, again, previously mentioned. With SBI, they're in Project Agora. It's using an Ethereum-based platform for tokenized deposit settlement. And then don't forget R3. R3 is doing so many blockchain developments here in Japan, and they're working with a stablecoin. It is the Progmat stablecoin. So the list just literally goes on and on. I didn't want to go through and list it all, but I bet you if I was asked to list them, I could probably list 12 or 15 different other blockchain alternatives that are being used in cross-border settlement, derivative settlement, security token offering settlements. So yeah, it's technologies that are being leveraged here are so many. As of today, I'm now a part of Community Notes. I have the ability to get started rating and writing notes on X. And who would I community note? Well, here's a post that just was put out 14 hours ago. It is very misleading. The fees don't come from SWIFT. When you use a bank that is using the SWIFT network, they set the transaction fees. And if you're going to compare to Ripple, RippleNet has a member's fee. And so anybody who uses their network is going to have fees. Now, I know that they've distinguished this as a transaction fee, but are they saying that Ripple uses XRP in every cross-border remittance? It looks like that's what they're trying to tell you. And a transaction fee of 0.00001 is like, on what's the amount? I mean, that fee is just not the case across the board. You can need to actually calculate, give me a specific transfer amount, and then find me a bank and show me the bank fees. And then if it doesn't use XRP, which we know a lot of times it does not, well, you've got an FX fee also. That would be the foreign exchange fee. So with the Ripple matching engine to get you the best FX rate, you still need to factor that in as a transaction fee. So yeah, I have a problem with this post, and it's misleading. A better post would be a big thanks to Barath Chari and Scott Branson, who helped XRP Kuwait get 2 new public hubs up and running. This is so key to the infrastructure and the health of the XRPL ecosystem. It's critical infrastructure. And because Alloy Networks is going to retire that hub, this was really sorely needed. And if you're really going to get down to brass tacks and you're going to find where the value is in the space and who is propping up and keeping this network alive, this is what you need to recognize. So nice to see this photograph of John Deaton with the former Massachusetts governor. This guy, I read his bio and wow, I am very impressed with his lifetime career. He got an endorsement from the former governor, and it's about time because there are some people who have still failed to recognize how important John is and how we really need to get this candidate up in front and forward in the face of all the Massachusetts voters, because we're in crunch time, everybody. Just about 10 minutes ago, we heard from Gary Gensler. He came on to CNBC, as he usually does after he has a bad day.
But there's some argument to be made that you want this, that actually it would be better if all of this business was happening in the U.S. You talk about an SBF. Obviously, that was taking place in the Bahamas. And, you know, a lot of people were trying to do things in other places. If there was a real regime here that everybody could trust and we had established rules and there weren't these questions about whether you were going to go over the line or you're behind the line, where the line was, would that be better?
I think that we do have those rules.
So you think those lines exist? Then why do people in the industry say that they don't know what the rules are?
Look, not liking the rules is not the same as that there aren't rules. And I think there's a lot that have profited off of the public's interest in this field, but profited without the proper disclosures. And inherently, there's business models that have a lot of conflicts. And we've seen the results of that time in and time again. Outside of crypto and inside of crypto, we see what happens when there's so inherent conflict. So we've got 90 years of experience with this, Andrew. It works reasonably well. We've got the deepest, most liquid capital markets. We're trying to make them more efficient. What we're doing in the equity markets,
I think
what we're
you're
doing in
warming
the treasury
up
markets.
to top-tier crypto. That's my take.
What's that?
I think you're warming up to top-tier crypto. I don't think you think it's a monolith. I think you think there might be some actual usage or benefit to top-tier crypto. Would you say that recently you're evolving to where... Go ahead.
Joe, where are you on what's called altcoins? There's 15 or 20,000.
That's what I know.
Where are you, Joe?
But you, when you came in, you said, that I probably only own Bitcoin, and you act like that's okay for me because I don't own all the garbage. I think you were thinking. So I just get the feel.
Garbage was your word.
I know, but are you warming up to top?
Huh? It was not that kind of a word that you used.
Actually,
right.
Joe, for the public, used a stronger word than garbage.
I did, but are you warming up? Do you see that it's probably here to stay and something that could be useful?
This is something I said to students 4 and 5 years ago.
I know, but you didn't say it to once you were the SEC chairman.
No. That this field will not long persist without investor protection or consumer protection.
Number
two, many of these projects, without prejudging anyone, are tapping into the public's interest to raise money. That's the classic securities sort of protections that you put in place. You can decide to go long or short these projects, but you need the disclosures. And as it relates to Bitcoin, my predecessor and I have said that's not a security. You now have a way that you can actually express that view, buy into that through exchange-traded products, traded on NASDAQ, traded on New York Stock Exchange, and the like.
Okay, that's a yes then.
Where do you think Bitcoin is going to be in our society 20 years from now? If you were to sort of,
I don't really know.
You have any idea?
I don't know. I mean, there's 7 billion people around the globe. I'm not going to make a prediction as to any one project, but what I would say is the field is going to have a challenge building trust, and it already has a challenge building trust when there's so many fraudsters, scammers, grifters in the field, and there are.
But what happened?